Welcome back. My name is Tony, and this is the Tony Narrative Show. Have you ever wondered why you're not getting enough traction on Instagram? Is the content you're putting out not getting enough views, likes, comments, shares, or even being saved to people's collections? Or you're just not having your followers boost? How would you like to increase your interactions and impressions without spending any money? So today I want to talk to you about how to do that while not spending any money at all. So the common thing is with social media, you got to pay for ads, you got to pay for ads, you got to pay for ads. Why? Why do you have to pay for ads? Yes, do ads work? 100%. They help get your information out there. They help boost your impressions so people go to your page, so they can follow you. They definitely do help. But why do you have to do that? Is there a way to get high quality information and content out there without having to pay for it? Now, in the beginning, it's going to be a little rocky. So let's say you create a new Instagram account today, which if you don't have one, I highly suggest you go make one at Instagram.com and create a new account today. Come up with a creative name, hashtags. Think about. I would say maybe make one or two personal hashtags that you can use, something that's unique and hasn't been used yet for yourself, and a good handle account name, so that way people can find you easier, but also something a little bit catchy so they always remember who you are. So I'm gonna go over 5 tips today on how to increase your social media impressions on Instagram. First one we want to talk about today is being consistent. So consistent can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. I've talked about this with myself. I have not been consistent with this channel, and I understand that. I know that. I recognize that. So in order for me to continue to be consistent, I need to produce content on a constant basis, so people know when to expect content from you and how often you're going to post. So if you're posting right now on Instagram once a month a picture of your dog, or a picture of maybe you stopped at a restaurant and got a cup of coffee, if you're posting once a month, you're not going to build any traction, and you're not going to have anybody want to stay and see what you post a month from now. So I mean, you're only posting 12 posts a year. That's not really a good reason to follow you, now is it? So you got to be consistent. You have to make sure that people know when to tune in and when to turn in for information and content you're going to be producing. Number 2, once you start being consistent and you're posting once a day, once every other day, maybe once a week, you need to make sure that you're putting out quality content. And by quality content, I don't mean just posting pictures of a freshly cut yard. You just cut the grass. Maybe you got a new hat. If it's not relevant to the message you're trying to portray, then save it for something else. You don't want to post that onto your main page of Instagram, because that's not what people are looking at your account for. Now, you can use stories on Instagram stories. That's a new feature that hasn't been in Instagram for very long. On how to, and you can really get very intricate with it. So all the stuff that you take pictures of from your day-to-day activities, you can just drop them on stories. It's only visible for 24 hours unless you archive it. And once you archive it, then it goes right in between your main posts of pictures and all the analytic information up top. And it's called highlights. So those highlights right there archive photos of your stories, and you can customize different highlight sections to have like specific types of media there of content. So let's say you live in Philadelphia. You can do a highlight for Philadelphia, and that could be all things related to Philadelphia. Maybe you're a coffee connoisseur and you constantly try new coffee restaurants, and maybe your Instagram page is about coffee, but like there's certain shots of coffee. Maybe you're shooting, maybe you're taking a picture of at the restaurant, or people inside. You can just drop that onto your story and then add that to your coffee highlight. So that's a good way to still put that information out there, but without it being on your main page. Your main page is what people see the first time, that grid of photos. That's what they see when they come to your page. but you still want to have some other content that kind of show that you're not a robot a little bit. And stories allows you to be more or less robot-y, I should say, or casual. I'm sorry. So that's a great way to use that. Tip number 3 is hashtags. So hashtags are unique search engines for social media networks. So let's say hashtag Pizza Planet. Well, if you type that in Instagram, you're gonna get everything, every picture, and all the content and media that's been posted with that hashtag of Pizza Planet, and that's how people find your content. It's a quick search engine. So again, like I said in the beginning, if you make a hashtag and you use that hashtag in all your posts that you created for yourself, then you start to build up that hashtag. And if it's something new and it's catchy, other people will be using it too. And it's always going to lead them back to your page and where it all started from. And it'll continue to grow that way. But hashtags are very unique to getting people to find you and follow you. You don't want to use hashtags that people are using every single day, like hashtag pizza. That is used so much. There's millions of posts on that one. You want to use hashtags like, for say, hashtag pizza underwater. I don't think that's a very used hashtag. It has probably have fewer than 100 posts, but it's a unique hashtag. Now, with that being said too, you also don't want to use hashtags that have too little of post. So anything that has less than, I would say, about 1,000 active posts on there. If you go to that hashtag and you look at the first picture that you see and you check the date, and if it hasn't been used for 2 years or even a year at least, then it's not a very active hashtag. You want to have something that has activity on there that's constantly being updated on a day-to-day basis. So as long as people are posting 1 to 3 pictures with that hashtag minimum every single day, then that hashtag is, I would say, usable. I try to find hashtags that are in the ranges of 15,000 all the way up to about, I top out at 100,000, but I really try to find a maximum of about 75,000. And I check all the time how many posts are being posted to those hashtags that I'm using. And I keep it consistent too. So I use the same hashtags, the same like group of 10 hashtags on every single post. And depending on that particular content, I'll add different hashtags to it just as well to make sure that I'm attracting new viewers, but also I'm being consistent with those who've seen my content in the past. And if they haven't followed me or been directed to my page yet, this might be another incentive for them to come to my page because they're seeing that I'm posting quality content, I'm being consistent, I'm displaying a message that they want to see, and we like the same things. Coffee break. Let's go coffee. Tip number 4 is posting content that is relatable to your viewers. So, not just when I say relatable, they came to your page. They followed you. They're there for a reason. You don't want to post a picture of, for say, coffee, and then tomorrow post a picture of pizza. If you were a coffee connoisseur and your page is about coffee, your page should be about coffee. Now, I know I talked about stories, and yes, you can use stories to post things like pizza and not put pizza on your main page where your coffee should be at. But you still want to even keep that consistent too as much as possible. So the reason why you want to be consistent there and outside of posting all the time, but being consistent with the message you're displaying, is because people come to your page to see posts and content about coffee. I followed you because I am interested in coffee and you're interested in coffee. And I want to see what coffee you're drinking and what coffee places you're going, because maybe I'm visiting Philadelphia and I am interested in different coffee shops around because I love coffee and I just want to try it out. But so I'm going to go to your page and look at the places that you've been to and the reviews and content you've displayed about that coffee shop. And hopefully it sparks my interest where I want to go there. So people are looking at your page because they want to see a consistent content message. They want a consistent message, not jumbled around everywhere. And sometimes it takes a while, especially when you just started a page and you're trying to find your groove and you're trying to understand what you really want to make your page about. And sometimes it just takes a little while, especially with photographers when they create a social media platform page. Their stylistic preference changes all the time. So say you're a landscape photographer and you shoot a lot of landscape photos at night, don't want to really switch over to shooting landscape photos in the daytime, unless you can find a way to kind of work your way into those photos, because you don't want to bounce around too much because it becomes inconsistent. Even though you're still portraying landscape photos, but the time of day changing like that. So if you have 3 night photos and then you have 2 daylight photos, then you have 14 night photos, 1 day photo, 3 night photos, and then 4 day photos, you're jumbling around. A lot of your followers, especially in that big gap where you're posting a lot of night photos, they start following because of those. And when you're bouncing back and forth, they may not want to see the sunrise. They maybe came to your page for a sunset. And I'm guilty of that too, because I will bounce between here and there. Now, the way around that is for photographers to post stylistic art with editing that suits who you are. So you can jumble around, do different things if you edit in a certain way that your audience can clearly see this is his style of edit. And this photography has different levels of ways to kind of bring your content back to who you are and attract the audience that you want to attract. Number 5, do not get overzealous with checking how many likes, impressions you're getting once you start getting to that 100 followers and you can see the analytics to everything. It's going to drive you freaking insane. The one thing you do want to focus on is what content you're posting that is attracting more impressions. So if you're getting more impressions from coffee at a coffee shop next to a window, you might want to take more photos at a coffee shop drinking coffee next to a window. If you're getting more impressions, more views and likes and shares for dumping your coffee out because it's disgusting, do more content like that. But if you're seeing that you're just showing a picture of the top of your coffee, it's not getting very many likes, comments, and shares, and the impressions are low, people aren't looking at it, then try to aim away from doing that particular content. Maybe you save that content for your stories, and do other stuff that gets more attractions. I know on my Instagram page, when I post sunset photos, I get a lot of impressions. But when I go and post maybe a picture at the zoo, my impressions aren't that high, because people are following me because they want to see sunset photos. And that's a good way to kind of check and see what kind of content you should continue to post and what's working. You don't want to get too overzealous and just always just check, oh my gosh, I'm not getting any more followers. Well, you might not be getting other followers because of what you're doing, not because of what Instagram's doing. So, like I said, those were 5 quick tips real quick I want to talk to you about. If you have any comments or ideas or things you want me to talk about in the future, please let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you got value out of this video, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me on the Tony Narrative Show. Peace.